Well, it's no secret that the city of Montreal has a number of road construction sites right now and a lot of traffic problems. Coordinating the construction and traffic is no small feat. Until a couple of years ago, most of that coordination was done with spreadsheets. Caroline Arnouk was working at the city of Montreal when she saw how difficult it was for infrastructure work to be planned and carried out with transportation in mind. So she left her job to solve that problem 2 years ago. Caroline started OPA Technologies, a software company that uses all kinds of information, including traffic patterns and transportation data, to make sure that people can still get around when urban construction projects need to happen. The software is now being used for the Turcotte Interchange construction as well as in other places like Quebec City. I spoke with Caroline Arnouk this week. Welcome to All in a Weekend.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
So I briefly explained the software, but tell me how it works.
Yeah, so it's a traffic obstruction management software. It's web-based, so the users can access online. It will help managers at the city or any public organizations such as Hydro-Québec or Gaz Métro that they manage public utilities to better plan all their construction sites with the detours, with road closures.
Okay, so they can see how it will affect the way people are moving around or getting around that site.
Yes, absolutely. And they can communicate the construction sites, so the dynamic data on the map between all the departments, so they don't work in silos anymore.
And because it's so funny that we say that they worked with spreadsheets. They literally worked in spreadsheets to plan out traffic patterns, and it didn't seem like that's a really effective way to communicate with other departments. So
still they work with spreadsheets and with the static maps. Mm-hmm. I think it's why I got the idea and I innovated, and I consider OPA Technologies as a game changer in the industry. So we're not only helping the constructions, but we're helping also the transport system. And as a civil engineer, and a lot of civil engineers are working with all this spreadsheet, I think I didn't do a diploma in civil engineering to work with the spreadsheets. So that's why we came up with a better solution that can fit any profile.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned some of the information that you use. What kinds do you need access to sort of help people or help organizations use this technology effectively?
So all the informations or the data come from the city departments. So there's a water department, there's a transportation department, the boroughs that plan all the construction to renew all the streets. Mm-hmm. So they all have to collaborate together, and what it's been going on, it's they spend a lot of time meeting each other and going through all these Excel sheets, and as we can see, it's not a very effective way. Mm-hmm. So it's not about the lack of the vision or the will. There's a vision to better manage everything, but I think technology is here to help. And I really encourage the public sector to work with the private sector, mm-hmm. because after all, it's our city, right? And we want to get in Montreal, we want to go out of Montreal. There are a lot of events going on in Montreal. Yep. We want to welcome all these events too.
How can this kind of technology help something like that isn't construction?
Yeah, so I think at the planning process, there's a lot of studies to do. Mm-hmm. And what we do with the software is we can do simulations and detect conflicts with only one click. Huh. So they can test different scenarios before the festivals being implemented. So by testing these scenarios, they can have a better overview of what can happen and the impact of all the people going to the festival or getting out of it, because it's important also to think about when it's time when it's closed and people want to go back home or go to another place. How are they
getting around?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So how is this being used for the Turcotte interchange?
So I got a call from Infrastructure Canada asking to see a demo of the software. And I went there, I did a demo, and it really interested them. And by that demo, I saw that it's really the only software that exists that can help managing and coordinate construction sites. So what happened then, Ministère des Transports decided to join this project, and we started a pilot project for Turcot and Champlain Bridge. And it's been going on for a year. We tested the software on a small area of the city. And we came up with a lot of improvements to the software to do. So I'm really happy we got to collaborate on a real project in the city.
And it's a big project too, because you're coordinating public transport, trucks, the commercial trucks that are going along there, commuters, and it has a different schedule every day of the week. It looks different. In doing that pilot project, how did you see it? How did you see the plan, I guess, evolve for people who are on the road? I mean, did you see places where things could have improved so that traffic would have been better on the Turcotte had they done things differently or in doing things differently?
Well, they benefit from the features in the software, and they some weekends they decided to not close a sortie or a road. So yeah, they really got to see a good overview of the situation and plan it ahead. And if anything happened in real time, they can communicate this data. So the other challenge that been going on all these years about the communication of the information, and it's very difficult, especially in when there's a lot of organizations and they all used to work in silos.
Yeah. This isn't a foolproof system. We've seen traffic congestion around the Turcotte. Anybody that's had to drive on it every day will say, "What do you mean you helped it?" I mean, obviously, the software doesn't make everything perfection, and now traffic's going to flow freely. Is that ever going to be possible, do you think?
I think it's possible. I think it's a project that is evolving within the needs of the professionals and the commuters. The first step is to get the good data in the system and make people use it. And after making better decisions and playing with the software and the system and the functionalities, I think then it's possible to open this data to the public, because as a citizen or as a commuter, I want to know the detour that I have to take. I know everything is closed. There are a lot of road closures. Yeah. So what I need to know is, where can I go?
Right.
What road can I take? So we are at this point where we are able to give this data to the commuters via the city website or any other interface that the city want to share with the citizen the data. And
the impact of setting people onto a detour of what that's going to do to the public transport system, for example. Like if you send a bus on another street, the impact of that already. So yeah, the public transportation system is another problem, because whenever there's a road closure, they have to do a detour for a bus, and they have to change the stops. Yep. And it's a new module that we are offering, and we got into developing this new module for the public transportation system as STM or STL or RTL, because we worked on Turcotte project. So what were you doing before you left the city? So I was a civil engineer working in the water department, and I used to plan the construction sites for Arrondissement Plateau Montréal and Arrondissement Ville-Marie. And so obviously that's when you saw. Exactly. But like, all right, something needs to change. Exactly. So I thought about getting out of this big organization to move faster. And I didn't like the status quo. And as a civil engineer, I love to find solutions to problems. And I didn't want to give up. And it's about the community. It's about the
people, the families. Montreal is a beautiful city, and we are taking care by renewing all this infrastructure. So I think we should take care also of the citizens and try to find solutions so they can stay and live in Montreal. And the fact that we got to work with cities and we have a lot of traction, I think it's very rewarding.
So what other places are looking at using your software now?
So right now we still have a lot of work to do in Quebec. And
not surprising. Okay.
And we're getting a lot of traction from Australia. We're also I went to Washington last year, and I think there's a need over there. It's very urgent over there. So in Canada, Toronto, we're looking to go there too. So I think it's a very good timing, and we're looking forward to help other cities too.
Sounds like it's going to keep you busy. Caroline, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
That was Caroline Arnouk. She is the woman behind OP8 Technology. She created it and incorporated it here in Montreal, and she'll be using that technology around the world very soon. 24 minutes past 8 o'clock, you're listening to All in a Weekend on CBC Radio One.